Hello beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. This is Infinite Love, where my name is Angelica and I do readings. I talk about spirituality, metaphysical, my opinions, all kinds of different things. I share my journeys, my pains, my fears, and so that I help people and assist people in that way by sharing those things to help navigate their own experiences through this awakening process, through, you know, just life in general. I do oracle readings, which we're going to be doing today. I also am a Reiki master, and I also help assist people through ancestral healing, clearing out those negative and those patterns in the ancestral lineage that keep us stuck or in fear, or keeping those wounds, or even physical manifestations like diseases or illnesses running through those ancestral lineage. I help clear those things out. So if you are interested in a Reiki session, an oracle session, a Reiki oracle session, which is a combination of Reiki and an oracle reading, or an ancestral lineage clearing, or some type of going into shadow work, going into some kind of, basically what shadow work is, we go into what's coming up in your life, what are you maybe being challenged with, and then we go into those different feelings, because this is about integrating the feeling centers so that we can become more sensitive, so that we can become more perceptive in our own reality, so that we learn how to trust our own intuition and follow our own intuition and become more sovereign, more empowered. And so if you want to schedule one of those or book one of those sessions, any one of those sessions with me, I will leave the links to my social media accounts down below, and you can DM me anywhere and we can schedule you while I get my my website's going through some changes. So we're getting things all set up and cleared out so that we can smoothly run things. So what we're doing today is an oracle reading for July 29th, the week of July 29th. And don't worry if it's not July 29th when you're watching this. If you stumbled upon this video for whatever reason, you were divinely guided here, and this is basically relevant to you right now. So welcome. And so what we're doing today is a 4-card reading, and the oracle deck that I'm using today is the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck by these amazing beings on the top there. I'm not going to murder their names because I tried it once and I was like, no. Colette Baron Reed is definitely one of them, Marcela Lobos, and Alberto Violdo. I'm going to say that. Hopefully I didn't murder that name. And what we're going to do is a 4-card reading that is basically hitting each of the 4 cardinal directions. I'll explain what each card means as we go along, and let's get started, because this is an amazing reading that we have right now. This is an amazing reading that came through, and I'm so glad that you are here to receive. Thank you so much for watching. You know, before we get started with anything, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button so that you're notified whenever I get a new oracle reading out, which is going to be weekly. I'm doing I have all kinds of other videos planned for this channel, so make sure you hit that bell button to be notified whenever a new video is out. So without further ado, let's do this. Okay. So the first card in our reading is the South card. The South card is basically what we need to let go of. An old story, maybe an old wound that it's time to basically let go of. And let me turn to the card page. Okay, so our first card in the South, the one that represents that which we need to let go of, whether it's a wound, it's something that is asking us to shed, basically. And that one is Thunder. If you can see below here, you can see all of the buffalo or the bison that are there. And so the card goes like this. Legends speak of great thunder beings who live in the sky and call for your attention what great occurrences are meant to happen in the world. They warn when tensions in a situation are called upon to be released. Their presence in your reading reminds you of the dramatic moments in life that changes everything, both awesome and frightening. When thunder arrives, it is also a wake-up call, one that you will not soon forget. The invitation here. When thunder comes into your reading, it refers to a big dramatic change that feels like a herd of wild bison on the run. You feel it right through your bones, and you know that you are powerless to influence whatever events that have been set in motion. This is a time to be prepared for anything. Your life is an adventure, and wonderful opportunities are arriving now. The trick is to learn to run with them. Qualities that you'll need now more than ever are flexibility, dexterity, and a willingness to experience it all without dictating from where or in what form opportunities will come. Your destiny is arriving. Be ready. The medicine. Do you feel like unnecessary drama is waylaying your life? Could you be exhausted from listening to others tell you their never-ending victim story, or could you be telling yourself a version of the same? It's time for an about-face. You're being warned that to continue on this path will cause you to regret your choices, even if they appear benign or familiar. It's time to say no to drama, both yours and others. Focus on solutions rather than problems. You are worthy of a drama-free life. So basically, the things that stick out here are letting go of the drama, letting go of the stories of victimhood or even addictions to victimhood, because we can become addicted to being the victim here. So letting that go. And how do we let that go? I mean, there's all kinds of different modalities of healing and letting go and releasing out there. If, pick a modality that resonates with you, as well as, I offer sessions as well to help people release in a safe space, safe space. But it's time basically to let go of drama. It's time to be more flexible, to have that dexterity, to go with the wind, with the flow of life, because opportunities are coming to us, and it's important that we are able to go with them. Because if we're stuck in a drama story or a story of lack or fear, we're less able to go with the flow of that opportunity that's coming, because maybe we're too afraid. Because maybe we're afraid that if we go, it's not going to turn out the way, we want it to. So it's time to let go of any stories that we're telling ourselves that have some kind of drama in it. Or maybe we're allowing ourselves to listen to others and their drama, which drains us. And that's not self-loving to ourselves. So maybe it's time to set a healthy boundary and say, no, I'm not going to listen to, this anymore. I need to be able to fill myself up, fill my own cup, so that I can be ready for opportunities that are coming. So that is our card in the South. Now our card, let's see, we're going to the card of the West. The card of the West is a part of us that needs to die, basically. It is an old story that needs to be let go of so that we can find new meaningful stories for our life. So instead of ones of lack and of fear and of addictions and of resentments or anger or depression, it's time to release those, right? And so that we can grow and go forward and move with the flow of life and be uplifted and supported in our life. So the West is the card that needs to die. And I found this interesting because the card that came through is the Tree of Life. But what catches my eye in this card the most is all of the little butterflies that are found in this card. This card has butterflies everywhere. And butterflies, to me, are a symbol of transformation. And basically, we're transforming all the time. And sometimes we have bigger cycles and we transform in bigger ways, in more noticeable ways. More than, maybe just every day that we're changing and we're growing a little bit more and more. So transformation is death and rebirth. And they're both the same energy expressed in different ways. So you have rebirth and you have death. So what needs to die? We're being called to really step into ourself, even meditate, come into silence and ask, what is it time to really let go of? What parts of myself, what aspects of myself that need to die? And this can sound a little daunting. Feel like, but what parts of myself needs to die? But that doesn't sound, well, what we're saying here is basically what parts of ourselves needs to be transformed. So if we are in a state, in a mental state of lack, then do we really want to, is that aspect of ourselves, if we keep holding on to it, is it really going to allow us to expand and unfold in a way that allows us to create abundance and financial stability for ourselves? More than likely not, because the energies are ramping up more and more and more with each passing day, with each passing year. It's only getting more intense. So it's really important that if we have things like beliefs and, that stem or that allow us to, or disallow us to be in a state of abundance, then it's going to be harder, that much harder for us to go with the flow, to bring abundance into ourselves so that we can be uplifted, that we can create the life of our dreams, to create the life that we prefer to live, rather than just going with the status quo and a 9 to 5, say, and, if that's your thing, that's your thing. That's great. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want something more, it doesn't really matter what your more is. If you have a belief around lack, then you are creating thoughts every day around lack instead of creating thoughts around abundance. So it's time to step into a silent space and ask yourself, ask your guides, ask your highest self, what is keeping me, or what part of myself, what aspect or thoughts, what belief do I need to let go of so that I may move forward into abundance, into financial stability, into unconditional love, into compassion, into expansion of my own spirit and my own life. So that's what's being called here, is what is what wants to die. And so the tree of life, the essence, let's see. The invitation here, let's go with this one. To find health and balance in your life, reflect on how you dance with your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings. If you are too much in your thinking head or in a world of fantasies and daydreaming, connect more with your roots and physical body. If you are caught in mechanical doing and you are feeling stuck, not able to imagine a better life for yourself, open yourself to be inspired by the heavens. Let your roots and branches be aligned with your heart's longings. So what I'm getting here is rooting down into our physical bodies. And that means a lot of different things. That can mean physically rooting, physically grounding ourselves, right? Also, it talks about if we're too much in our thinking heads and too much too much in our thinking heads to the point where we cannot imagine a better life for ourselves, that those are things that need to be let go too. It's time to let those limitations of lack, of fear, go so we can rise up into living a life of how we intended on before we even incarnated into this planet. And so, but there's also a balance point here. So we can be too much in our thinking head, right? But we can also be too much into fantasies and daydreaming. And it's great to be in those state of imagining, this grand life. But if that's where we always are, we're not grounded into ourself, into our body. And so it might be time to let go some of that ungroundedness and really come into our body, ground ourselves into our body, into the present moment. This is something that I had to really come into because I kind of gave up on life so many times over and over and over and over and over again. So it came to a point where I just didn't want to be here. So ungrounded, where I had to just come back into my body slowly, where I could be in the present moment, but I could still allow myself to think big and imagine a better life for myself. At the same time, be grounded and take the inspired action, right? Bring through the inspiration and then take that inspired action to creating the life of my dreams. So there's a balance point here. Where are you at with this? So that is the West, the card of the West. What the aspect of ourself that needs to die so that another aspect can be reborn, or that aspect can be reborn in a higher state of being. So that if lack within us is dying, right? Abundance can be reborn. A state of having more than enough. So the card of the North. Now this is my favorite card because this one's super profound, and it was what? So the card of the North basically represents the wisdom that we need now. The wisdom that is ready to mature within us. The wisdom that is coming to us and to be grounded. What is your great medicine that you are ready to embrace? The medicine or the wisdom that is ready to come into our life, and it's time to be wow, it's the next step to take us to, the next step and the next step. This is basically a deeply buried treasure that's coming to us. And let me get on the page where it's at, because this was, so let me grab it. The medicine wheel. How perfect is this right now? The medicine wheel. So, well, I'll read and then we'll go. So, to manifest clear blue skies in your life, it is important that you take a look at certain aspects of your being Enter the medicine wheel from the south and reflect on how you are still clinging to events from the past, which is kind of what we're doing in this whole reading, right? So just listen to this. Continue to the west and notice which relationships are toxic and drain your energy. Step into the north and ask yourself, do I know my passion, and show it? End at the east direction, visualizing how you want to live the next chapter of your life. It is up to you how much time you spend in each direction, minutes, days, or months. But when you are done, make sure to step outside the wheel and contemplate your journey. So basically the healing here, you must not postpone your healing journey any longer. It can be difficult to start, but you must find the inner strength to step into the medicine wheel, or you may lose your opportunity. There are many ways and many paths. Choose one that you most resonate with. Once you have found it, the only mistake you can make is to not follow it. Go boldly. So basically here, what we're being told to is to go into our healing, to lean into it, to step into it. That it can be challenging, it can be scary, because we're bringing all of that stuff up. I've done this work for myself for about 2 years, and every time something else comes up, it's like, shit, you know, and it brings up other things and brings up other feelings that need to be integrated. And sometimes it feels like it's never going to freaking end. And in a way, it doesn't ever end. There's always something to bring up, but there is a certain time and a certain place where we come to where it's like, wow. I feel like with each healing or with each session that I did with somebody, it brought up a new sense of wellness, of empowerment. And there's still those ebbs and flows in life that, you know, the energy becomes more strong and potent, and the astrological alignments and the different planets are aligning in different ways, and they're bringing certain energies that can intensify or whatever certain aspects within ourselves, right? So there's this whole dance that's going on. At the same time, with each session, I always felt like another relief, a deeper sense of relief. And each session, it's like I had this big freaking ball of energy, right? And each session brought out one or two, a couple more strands, and let it flow freely. And like, so that the ball was like going like this, and it was shrinking, so that eventually the energy is flowing freely, much more freely. And you can feel it. If you're a deep feeler like me, you can feel it. It's amazing. And so we're being called to basically step into our healing and to physicalize this. We can even physicalize this. And as we're going through the cards, because we're using the cardinal directions, which is funny, step into the south and ask, you know, what do I need to let go of? Step into the south. You know, reflect on what are you still clinging to? What are you still clinging to that is not allowing you, and what is disallowing you from moving forward into success, into abundance, into love, into compassion for yourself, for forgiveness to yourself or others. Step into, let's see, where is it? I know where it is. I'm sorry. Continue on to the west and notice which relationships are toxic and drain your energy. That can be a relationship with yourself. That can be a relationship with your thoughts. That could be a relationship with you and the TV. There's many different ways that we can become drained of our energy and of our life force. Then step into the north and ask yourself, do I know my passion? And show it. Do you know what brings you to life? What inspires you to take action and to do it and to do it and to do it so much that it brings you, it like fills you with life, but it also at the same time, it fulfills the needs of others. And in the east, and in the east direction, visualizing how you want to live the next chapter of your life. So you can physically do this. It's telling us to physically do this. I encourage that. So that is that card. And that's like telling you. So this next card is the card of the east. Let me get on the page. And basically this one is, it represents a possible destiny. So this is the way that we share our gifts and treasures and gifts with others. However, if it's a possibility and it came, let's just go with this. This is Sorcerer. And this is a card of dark power, dark energy. There's so many different ways that we can share darkness with others. Now, one way is if we hang on to our resentments, our anger, our depression, our fear, we sink into that and we share that with others. We can rope other people, if they're in resonance, into that fear, into that resentment, into that greed, right? We can spread that kind of darkness. However, there's another way that we can share our darkness. And this is one way that I do all the time, especially in sessions, when I'm in sessions with other people, is we can flip this. We can take this dark power, this dark energy, we can integrate it within ourselves. When we heal it, it becomes integrated, basically, so that it's not just light and dark, right? It's actually integrated within ourselves. You can think of it as a gray, you know? It's no longer black or white, it's gray. Kind of. So you're in that neutral point. You're like, yeah, I went through a bunch of shit and I'm freaking stronger for it. I am fortified. I was forged in the fires. I am freaking strong. I'm empowered. Because I went through all of that shit and I didn't give up. And now I'm standing here and I'm ready to share my light with other people. I'm ready to share my darkness with other people so that they can realize their own light. So that they can be inspired and empowered to keep going on with their journey, to face their own darkness. And then they can integrate and heal that polarity of darkness and light and become gray. And shine their light and go on to help other people. It's ripples and ripples and ripples of light. Or ripples and ripples and ripples of darkness. Basically, how you choose is how the possibility of this card can go. It doesn't have to be darkness. So this is what it is. And keep in mind what I just said to you. So this can go either way. You have the choice. You have the power right now of how to channel this energy. This is the source of dark power. The sorcerer represents the destructive aspect of the human psyche and the self-centered behavior that harms others. It symbolizes the unconscious beliefs and ideas that foster separation, conflict, and scarcity. When the sorcerer enters your circle, you are being called to look at how your beliefs around scarcity and self-centered fear manifest in your world. Examine the destructive part of your psyche that misuses power or harbors feelings of resentment, vengeance, lust, greed, bigotry, or hatred. Perhaps you've harmed someone because of these dark tendencies. If so, all is not lost. You have only forgotten that all beings are interconnected and the universe is abundant. The sorcerer arrives to challenge you to change your thinking. You're given a second chance. Correct your course, and practice not blaming others for the darkness that lives inside of you. Make peace with it and choose another way. So that's basically saying you can stand here in that neutral point and say, no, I went down that road of darkness. I've harmed a lot of people. I've hurt a lot of people. I've done my healing work. I've done my forgiveness. If you have, I choose this way. I'm going to go over here now. It doesn't have to be like, oh, that was horrible. I did so much shit and blah, blah, blah. And and like, it doesn't have to be a pushing away. It can be an integrated neutral point of, yeah, that was a crazy ride. I learned a lot of shit from there. Now I prefer to go over here because I've done that. So it's basically saying we're being called to look at our life. How are we channeling this energy? How are we using this energy? And how do we want to move forward? Because every now moment, right now, we are choosing, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, the next now moment, basically. So what we choose to do in this moment affects directly the next now moment. Doesn't matter whether we're conscious of it, whether we're not conscious of it, whether we believe in it, whether we don't. It's cause and effect. It's really just physics and science. But it's also interwoven into spirituality and metaphysics. You know, it's all of it. And so what we choose to do now will affect our next moment. Whether that's, 2 seconds from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, 2 years from now. And so realizing that in this moment, we can choose or not to choose to do something or not to do something that will bring in other timelines, other possibilities, basically, of what road we can go down. Because there are many possibilities. There's infinite amount of timelines, possibilities, but there are infinite possibilities, right? But what we are doing is what we do in each moment is going to bring about certain probabilities that we can walk down. Our thoughts, our words, our actions all bring in certain vibrations of probabilities of, say I want to create a business, right? And I want it to bring in the people that are really going to be helped by it and all of that good stuff. And what I do in this moment is going to dictate whether I'm working towards that possibility, that probability, that timeline, or not. So what are you choosing? Remember, I am here to remind you that you have the choice. So choose consciously. Choose it with the awareness in your all parts of you that I want to do this. I'm going to do this. This is where I want to go. This is how I you don't even have to know all the steps. But if you just start with where you want to go and just start with one conscious choice, it comes more and more and more and more. And that is the 4-card reading of the north, south, east, and west cardinal directions. I hope it inspired you and empowered you and served you in the highest and best way. Thank you so much for watching and receiving. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell button to get notifications of next week's, next week's oracle reading and all of the different videos that I have planned. Leave me a comment down below and let me know how this resonates. Let me know what action steps you're going to take. What did you realize during this reading? Let me know. And I will see you next week for the next oracle reading, or for next week's oracle reading, however you want to say it. Until then, infinite love, blessings, so many cosmic rainbow hugs your way.